Check 1 2. Check 1 2. All right, everybody, if I can get your attention, we are going to get started. What a meeting we have today. What a great crowd. I'm not shocked because we have Razorback royalty here today. Would you not agree? My goodness. Anybody who's wore a Razorback helmet or logo for football stands on the shoulders of these three guys. And these young guys don't know that up in Fayetteville, but I do. And I will always be grateful for it. I don't know what this meeting is going to be like today. Lord have mercy with these three up here. I have no idea. Listen, I just spent an hour flying back with Coach Switzer from Norman to Little Rock. And my head's spinning trying to keep up with Coach. He's spitting things out left and right. And great to have my old coach, Coach Hatfield, and, of course, Freddie Marshall. These three guys did something that were part of something that nobody else has done since 1964 National Championship, 60-year anniversary this year. Worth a round of applause. Okay. So first thing we need to do, let me make a note here. First thing we have to give away these pop-ups brought to you by Rockstar Passes. Coach Switzer signed his forehead. Coach Hatfield to the left. Freddie on his number. All right. I don't know who gets what. I guess whoever gets the first one gets to choose. 041403. 041403. Who was our winner? 041403. Going once. There. Congratulations. Oh, look at you. Look at you. Well done. All right. The next one. 041402. 041402. Now, wait a minute now. All right. That's the way the rules work, I guess. I don't know how much money you pumped in that thing, but it's paying off. Now, if you get this last one, I'm quitting. All right, here we go. 041409. 041409. 04, there we go. All right, give a round of applause to all those folks who bid on those. All right, so what a year it's been. I mentioned last week, Sam Pittman, Brett Favre, Ray Lewis, Eric Dickerson, Hunter Yurachek, Jimbo Fisher, Greg McElroy, Dan Mullen, Nathan Brown, DJ Williams, Joe Adams, Jarius Wright, Butch Jones, Colt McCoy was great last week, Rex, and today, obviously, going to be an unbelievable meeting. Last meeting of the year is next week. We're not doing David Pollock because he has a contractual issue with ESPN. He's not allowed to be able to get up and get paid to speak about current issues in college football, and we want to honor that. He's got a certain agreement with ESPN. We talked with his agent. We just said we won't do that. So we're going to do the Ken Hatfield Sportsmanship Award. You see the big banner up there. So I think this is coached, I think, the third year we've done it. If you have not been in this meeting, it's one of the best meetings we do every year. We honor 12 young men that aren't the superstars, but they're the ones that the coaches want to honor from their team. All of them are up here. They all get big plaques. We all give them money. And I'm telling you, you will be moved by it. It's one of my favorite ones, and it's great to honor my old coach, Ken Hatfield. Let's give a round of applause for that. We were going to ask for contribution. We always ask if the membership wants to be involved in sponsoring this, but we've had somebody that wants to step up and do the whole thing. They want to step up and do the whole thing. So we'll talk about that next week, but that's exciting when we have members that say, hey, we love what you're doing so much, we want to make this be something very special. So we'll mention that next week. Last but not least, we would like to, because it's Veterans Day, all of our veterans, please stand. Let's give them a big round of applause. Veterans, please. Rex, they can still get it done if need be. Absolutely. They can still get it done. All right, at this time, we want to bring up the pastor of Pinnacle Church of Christ. You know him on the buzz as the Pigskin preacher, Chuck Monan. Please come up, Chuck, and lead us in a word of prayer, if you will.
I think everybody's excited to be here today with these Razorback legends, and I see a few recalcitrant Oklahoma Sooners scattered throughout the crowd. My wife is actually here. She wanted to see the King. Coach, good to have you here, man.
Which coach? Who's the king?
Son, if you were in Oklahoma, there's only one king, okay? Now, we're closer to Memphis, so that'd be Elvis. Barry Switzer is the king in Oklahoma. So, given that we have a little bit of a religious pause here as we do our prayer, the Bible says that we're to love our neighbor as ourselves and that we're our brother's keeper. So if any of you have any ties in Louisiana, somebody check in this week on James Carville. He had a bad week. So we'll leave it at that. That was not political. That was football. Okay. Well, let's have a prayer together. Father, what a great time it is to be here together. We're thankful for the collegial atmosphere, the friendship, the excitement. Father, we're thankful for David and his team putting together such an excellent program. We're thankful that Freddie and these two wonderful coaches could be here with us today. Father, we pray your blessings with them and their health and their families. And Father, we're thankful for the food and the way you take care of us each day. Help us to be grateful for all that we have and be willing to share with those around us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, Chuck. I appreciate that. We want to thank our sponsor, Simmons Bank. Great to have Simmons Bank, the best presenting sponsor in America. We have Haskell Anderson and Kirby Moralia. Did I get it, Kirby? Close enough. Say it. Moralia. How about that? Thanks so much to Haskell and Kirby for being here today. George Macros came by earlier to see coaches and Freddie. Couldn't do it without Simmons Bank. They've helped us raise the bar to a different level. Great to see Tommy May here as well. Always great to see Tommy on the front row down here and setting great inspirational level for us to know what life's about and to go at it with 1,000 miles an hour. Nobody does it better than you, Tommy. Great to have you here today. I also want to thank Stevens for being here and sponsoring us for the first time. If I'm not mistaken, Kevin and Warren, Freddie Marshall's first job after he got a job with an accounting firm, said, don't want to do that. Don't like that anymore. But he goes to work for Stevens back in the 60s. So Freddie, some great memories there of Stevens and what they've done in our state, the nation's largest family-owned financial service firm in America. Great to have Kevin Scanlon and Warren here today, and appreciate all they do supporting the Touchdown Club. Also, Oaklawn. I did not do as well on my picks this week, dadgummit. I've been at about 70%, had an off week a little bit, but that's okay. For those of you who've missed it, you've seen some commercials of me and Roger Scott, my buddy from Morning Mayhem. I think we've got one. If you've missed it, these things are all over the place, but here's an example of one of our fun spots that, listen, Roger's the actor. I'm just the standby, so if we could play this, please, any of that would be great.
Basil has his coffee. He's got plenty of room. He could go all the way to the copier.
Could you not do that today?
Bro, I'm sorry. It's football season. I'm just fired up.
Maybe channel that energy somewhere else, like the Oaklawn Sports app.
Focus on wagering. I like it. He surveys the app. He calls an audible. He's taking the Cowboys +3. What a bold move. Download Oaklawn Sports and bet all season long with the best sports betting app in Arkansas.
How about Roger Scott, everybody? How about that acting right there? Where's Roger at? Who was the actress that you outshined in Antiquities?
Somebody named Steenburgen.
Yeah, Mary Steenburgen. When you watch the movie with Roger in it, you say Mary who after you see Roger perform it. So great to have Zach Gillum here today. Tomorrow night we're doing Ladies Night. Sports Betting 101 with Oaklawn Sports over at Cash is going to be exciting as we teach ladies how to, and guys who are there watching, how to wager on the Oaklawn Sports set. We appreciate their support of the Touchdown Club. Right, Lindsay and Jennings, great to have Judy Henry and her husband Cliff, who's my old travel roommate with the Razorbacks back in the day. They've been around 124 years. Since 1900. Judy, thanks so much for the sponsorship of the Cliff Harris Award. Rex, it's almost time to start honoring. We give this trophy right here.
3 divisions.
We give this away times 3. We give a winner of this to do Division 2, Division 3, and NAI. We did it at Jerry's World last year. You should see the expression of the kids in Division 2, Division 3, and NAI when they each get one of these $3,000 trophies. So couldn't do it without you, Judy. Yeah. Crane Automotive, where's Christian Crane? Christian, thanks so much for your help, the Crane family and Crane Automotive. We had a chance to hang out with Barry Switzer for about an hour today. Couldn't do it without your help, Christian. And Christian had not had a chance to be around Barry. And I said, Christian, whatever you do, make sure that you have an hour that you can be with me as we get Barry Switzer. And he got an education about the history of football, both in Arkansas and around the state. But Christian, thank you so much for your support of the Touchdown Club and your grandfather, Poppy, Larry Crane, and what he did for our club. We appreciate Crane Automotive. Sissy's Log Cabin, been around 54 years. Bill and Sherry Jones, thank you so much for your support. Double B's, Steve Lytle and GM Ed Light. Gassick Grab It Go, thank you so much to Double B's. Summerwood Sports, the Hendricks family, one of the best families in the state of Arkansas. They're amazing. Summerwood Sports Complex in Bryant. More things are coming. Big news coming from the Hendricks family soon. Renata Jenkins Byler, 25 roller funeral homes in Arkansas. No one will do a better job with your family than Renata and her staff. Advantage Service Company, Kevin Brooks, One Call Does It All, 35 years in the business. HVAC, plumbing, electrical needs, they've got it all covered. The Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Wally Hall and Amanda Copley, they've been a sponsor all 20 years. Our All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week has always been big stats. Last week we had a quarterback who threw for, 700 yards? So coaches and Freddie, you'll be glad to hear that this week's honoree is a defensive player, and his numbers in one game rival that of the great Ronnie Cavness, who was one of the great players in the history of the U of A that you guys know and played with. And so anyway, excited to hear all of his stats coming up shortly. Thank you to the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. The Hatcher Agency, Greg Hatcher, always doing whatever it takes to help the Touchdown Club out. With the Hatcher Agency, also has Twin City Limo. Papa does a great job of picking everybody up each week. Greg, we couldn't do the Touchdown Club without you. Thank you. Michael Marion, Simmons Bank Arena. Great to see Michael here wearing his Mississippi State shirt. They're getting a little bit better, Michael. That's all right. Listen, we're excited about our one win against you guys this year. So, but thank you so much for all your congratulations on 25 years, Simmons Bank Arena. Pulaski County Farm Bureau, Todd Dennis, Stephen Reichert. Todd, where's Todd? Thanks so much for bringing our veteran who was 100 years old last week. Did y'all enjoy seeing him last week? What an unbelievable young man. Major Foster C. Jock Davis from Russellville. Thank you so much for bringing him. War Memorial Stadium, 76 years old, Rex, opened in 1948. State High School Football Championship start up soon. So that will be going on. So John Latch, Mark Pike, thanks for all you do. Arkansas Urology, one of their veterans was a physician in the Air Force. We know him all, Dr. Mac Moore. Where's Mac at? Mac's a great guy and appreciate his service for our country and also what he's done at Arkansas Urology. Their awesome event, annual Boots and Barbecue, coming up November 21st. Check it out. A lot of fun raising money for men's health screenings. Thank you to Arkansas Urology. They're the reason we have live broadcast every Monday here at the Touchdown Club. 103.7 The Buzz. I already mentioned Roger Scott, the most talented man in America. Justin Moore, 13 number ones. I have him every week. And Josh Neighbors, who's our producer, is actually here today. Glad to have him. Couldn't do it without the Buzz's support. We appreciate them. AY Media, AY Magazine, Arkansas Money and Politics, Heather Baker. Thank you, Heather, for your support. There you are over there. I also want to give a special recognition to Arkansas PBS. Courtney Pleasure, Tanisha, Anita, Brian, and Kevin back in the back. They get here, guys, 3 hours before our meeting every Monday. 3 hours. It is, and see all this equipment. It is a lot of work. And they do that because they want to share what we're doing here around the state to all the folks in the state of Arkansas. So let's give them a special round of applause for the hard work that they do each week. The DoubleTree Hotel, nobody's better. Lakia and the staff, outstanding. JF Media Marketing, Alicia Flynn over there doing our social media, the best in the country. Nobody does it better. The best sponsor group in America. Let's give a round of applause for everybody if you don't mind. Last but not least, Coach Hatfield and Coach Switzer and Freddie, we've got the best volunteer group in America. We have 20 to 30 volunteers every week that come in free of charge to help out. Dwayne Duncan taking photography for over 10 years. Chris Kane, RJ Hawk, Wes Sutton, all the ladies in the back, all the guys setting up. Debbie Wyman, our executive director. Let's give all the volunteers a big round of applause. All right, I mentioned we have an amazing All-Arkansas Prep Player of the Week. Chris Kane, will you come up and introduce our honoree today?
Absolutely, thank you. RJ's out today on official legislative business. I'll let you imagine whatever that could be. I'm not really sure. Our All-Arkansas Prep Player of the Week from the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette today, like Basil said, does harken back to a different time where we still value defense, which is something that unfortunately isn't as high value in today's game. But this young man from Mena, Arkansas, led his Bearcat team with 26 total tackles in a single game. He also, for good measure, knocked down a 34-yard field goal, so he can play any position on the field. They beat Clinton 24-7 2 weeks ago and improved to 9-0 on the season to that point. He's here with his mom, Ashley, dad, Eric, today. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for your All-Arkansas Prep Player of the Week, Hai Hernandez from Mena.
Coaches, I asked him, I said, are you a linebacker? He said, no, I'm a safety. I said, he made 26 tackles at safety. Where's the rest of the defense? Good Lord. He said, well, they let me get up close in the box. But 26 tackles for safety is unbelievable. And guys, would you not agree, coaches? Coach Hatfield and Coach Switzer and Freddie, Ronnie Cavness was, you can make the argument, the greatest linebacker to ever play at the University of Arkansas. I think in multiple games, he had 20-plus tackles per game. 25 against Texas, I think 25 twice against Texas. So congratulations. Great to have you all the way from Mena. How long is the drive from Mena? How about a round of applause driving 2 hours to be a part of our meeting today? Best part, yeah, you're out of school all day. Good job, young man. Well done. All right, with our weekend recap, let's give it up for Rex Nelson, everybody.
Thanks, David. Thank all of you for being here today. Well, for a second consecutive week, the state's Division I teams go winless. Louisiana Lafayette thrashes Arkansas State 55-19 to drop the Red Wolves to 5-4 overall, 3-2 in the Sun Belt. Lafayette improves to 8-1. They are now 5-0 in conference play. They are a very good team. Ragin' Cajuns had 579 yards of offense, 278 rushing, 6 rushing touchdowns. UCA, unfortunately, drops a second consecutive game, falling 31-24 at Eastern Kentucky. Bears are now 6-4 overall, 3-3 in conference. Eastern Kentucky moves to 6-4 and 4-2. UCA, not to make excuses, but Chris and I were talking about this, was down to its third quarterback by the end of that game. Will McIlvain, the starter, injured in the second quarter. Austin Myers comes in. He goes down in the second half. The quarterback they wound up using usually just signals in plays the whole game. So that's what they were down to. UAPB loses 52-24 at home to Alabama A&M. Golden Lions are now 3-7 and 2-4. Alabama A&M 4-5 and 2-3. So thank goodness for Division II, as our Division I schools went winless. The 6 GAC schools go 5-1 against the 6 Oklahoma schools in the GAC. Ouachita beats their other Baptist brethren, Oklahoma Baptist, 55-0, as Kendall Gibbons rushes for 106 yards. Tigers were a little mad after that Halloween night upset. They're now 9-1. Oklahoma Baptist falls to 2-8. Harding, of course, also in the top 10. The defending national champions go to 9-1. 34-7 win over East Central Oklahoma. Andrew Miller rushes for 158 yards, and East Central drops to 4-6. Henderson is 8-2, 35-17 win over 2-8 Southwestern Oklahoma. Reddies trailed 3-0 after the first quarter and then scored 28 consecutive points in that game. Southern Arkansas also 8-2. So you have 2 9-1s and 2 8-2 teams from Arkansas in the conference. SAU 8-2. A 78-0 win over 2-8 Northwestern Oklahoma. Now, little side note you'll find interesting. The defense that gave up 78 points Jerry Glanville is the defensive coordinator at Northwestern Oklahoma, the former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons and the Houston Oilers, guy that we used to wear all black, coaching in his 80s still. So Coach Switzer, Coach Hatfield, if you want to get back in it, have a feeling there'll be an opening in Alva probably for a defensive coordinator. And Coach Switzer can confirm, to paraphrase Lou Holtz, Alva ain't the end of the world, but you can see it from there, right? You can see it from there. So congratulations to SAU. Arkansas Tech evens its record at 5-5, 6-0 shutout of 5-5 Southeastern Oklahoma. Only loser of the GAC teams from Arkansas was 4-6 UAM. Coach Switzer grew up just down the road at Crossett. He knows the saying, ain't nothing more evil than that dang bow evil, but not on Saturday. 24-21 loss at 2-8 Southern Nazarene. All right, NCAA Division III NAIA real quickly. Hendricks finishes the season 4-6, 2-5 in conference, a 27-15 win at Sewanee. Lyon is 1-8 overall, 0-7 in conference, a 28-0 loss to McMurray. Arkansas Baptist 1-9 overall, 0-8 following a 66-12 loss to Louisiana Christian. So Arkansas teams go 6-6 against out-of-state teams, better than the state of Florida, where nobody won this week. Did you see that story? They went over this week in college football. Quickly to the SEC. How about Ole Miss 28, Georgia 10? Who saw that coming? The students, Ole Miss being Ole Miss, stormed the field with 16 seconds still remaining in the game. They got them off and they finished, and the goalpost ends up down on the square in Oxford. But the Rebels are 8-2, 4-2 in the SEC. Georgia falls to 7-2, 5-2 in the SEC. Jackson Dart, 13 of 22 passing, 199 yards. But it was the Ole Miss defense that was the star in that game. They may have the best defensive line in America right now. This week's opponent for the Razorbacks, Texas, takes down Florida 49-17 to move to 8-1 and 4-1. Florida in that game started a transfer from Yale at quarterback. Whoever thought we would say that? A Yale transfer starting at Florida. He actually went to class and nobody knew what to do. They weren't used to their quarterbacks there actually showing up in class. So Florida falls to 4-5 overall, 2-4 in conference. Alabama goes to Baton Rouge at night. Supposed to be scary at night in Baton Rouge, right? Not for Bama. 42-13 in what was essentially an elimination game from the playoffs. So LSU eliminated. Jalen Milroe rushed for 185 yards, 4 touchdowns as Bama goes to 7-2 and 4-2. LSU falls to 6-3 and 3-2. And I texted a friend down in South Louisiana. You made the Carville comment, pigskin. I texted a friend down there, and I said, all right, LSU is not going to make the playoffs now. The Saints are awful in the same year. How's everybody feeling down there? And in true South Louisiana fashion, I'm not making this up, he writes back, well, all we can do now is just drink, and that's not entirely a bad thing. So I guess that's the right attitude to have if your teams aren't going to make the playoffs. Tennessee takes down Mississippi State. Sorry, Michael, 33-14. Volunteers go to 8-1, 5-1. We know who that one blemish is to. Mississippi State 2-8, 0-6 in conference. Missouri goes to 7-2, 3-2, a 30-23 win over Oklahoma. Zion Young picks up a fumble on a strip sack of the quarterback, goes 17 yards for a score with 22 seconds remaining in the game to win that. So OU falls to 5-5 overall. Get this, it's first year in the SEC. We may get Coach Switzer to explain this to us. 1-5 in conference play right now. South Carolina downs Vanderbilt in Nashville 28-7. Vandy had been playing so well, but not on Saturday. South Carolina 6-3, 4-3. Commodores are bowl eligible, remember, 6-4, 3-3, but they've now lost 16 in a row to South Carolina. All right, Texas at Arkansas, of course, this week. Mercer at Alabama. ULM at Auburn, LSU at Florida, Tennessee at Georgia, should be a good one, Murray State at Kentucky, Missouri at South Carolina, New Mexico State at Texas A&M. Here in the state, of course, Texas at Arkansas, early start. 1 o'clock in Arkadelphia. It's my favorite week of the year. It's the Battle of the Ravine. 8-2 Henderson hosts 9-1 Ouachita. Everybody should have that on their bucket list and go to at least one. Only college football game in America where the visiting team doesn't fly, it doesn't bus, it walks to a road game. Ouachita will dress in its own dressing room, walk across Highway 67, play, and then walk back home. It is unique. Southern Utah at UCA, Arkansas Tech at Harding, and Southern Utah at UCA, yeah, Arkansas Tech at Harding, and Southern Arkansas at UAM. So, games in Fayetteville, Arkadelphia, Conway, Searcy, and Monticello. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. No excuses. Get out and see a college football game on Saturday, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Rex. Before we bring up our special guests, a couple of other special guests we want to acknowledge. I saw CJRW, Blake Boland and Wade McCune. Great to have you guys here today. Did the amazing job with the commercial you saw earlier. Merritt Dyke and Jeff Fox, two guys that are heavily involved in our community. Appreciate both of you guys. You do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And Jeff, I'll forgive you that you like Duke, so we'll forget about that, and it's all good. But great to have both of you guys here. Tommy Smith, the legend, and his wife Karen. Great to see Tommy and Karen. Where are they? Great to see Tommy over there. Antoine Phillips, newly re-elected city board member from Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings. Congratulations, Antoine. And then we've got a ton of former Razorbacks. I'm just going to throw out a few that I know here. Dick Hatfield. Now, go ahead and stand when I call your name. Dick Hatfield, Lewis Nally, Jim Moody, Kevin Scanlon, Mike Erie, Gary Adams. Let's see here. Tim Fowley, Jim Williams, Juju Harshaw. And anybody I miss, if you're a Razorback former player or coach, Bruce James over there, how can I forget Bruce? But get up, Bruce, I didn't see you. Let's give a round of applause to all of our great Razorbacks. If I missed somebody, I apologize. I was trying to make notes here. And also one of the great tight ends of all time, both at the college, All-American at Oklahoma under, obviously, Barry Switzer, and then obviously one of the great pros to play at tight end, the one and only Keith Jackson, everybody. Give it up for Keith. On the plane ride over, Keith, I asked Coach Switzer, I said, is Keith one of your closest players that you ever coached? He said, without a doubt. Just talked about the kind of human being you are, not the kind of player you were. So, listen, and I know you try sometimes to keep up with this guy. I heard you were in the Grove with him a few weeks back, and that's just wow, there he goes. I did want to mention one other person here. It's great to have over here sitting with Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings, somebody that I've always had so much respect for. She doesn't look like she ages a day. It's amazing. She's Barbara Pryor, the wife of the late U.S. Senator and our Governor David Pryor. Let's give a big welcome to Barbara Pryor, everybody. So I asked Coach Switzer, because Miss Pryor said that I went to school with Barry. And Barry said, yeah, we went out on some dates. And Barbara said, no, I tutored Barry is what we did. So there seems to be a discrepancy in the memory of that time. I will let those two work that out. But Miss Pryor, so great to have you, Barbara. What a wonderful lady you are, and loved your husband. What an amazing man he was. All right, so Steve Sullivan is going to introduce our three amazing guests, and we're going to dive into this thing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Sully, take it away.
Freddie Marshall is Arkansas's national championship quarterback. A true dual-threat quarterback, Freddie was voted the most outstanding player in the Southwest Conference during a magical senior season. He was at his best in the biggest moments. This incredible run came during a historic 80-yard drive late in the fourth quarter of the Hogs Cotton Bowl matchup with Nebraska, a win that clinched the national championship. Ken Hatfield is the pride of Helena, a star defensive back and kick returner on the national championship team. He was a first-team All-American punt returner in 1964. This punt return that helped beat Texas 14-13 is regarded by many as the biggest play in Razorback football history. Ken Hatfield went on to have a brilliant coaching career that featured 6 great seasons at Arkansas, including 3 10-2 seasons. Barry Switzer was born and raised in Crossett. During his senior season, he was a tri-captain at Arkansas on a team that won a share of the Southwest Conference title. Barry was an assistant to Coach Broyles on that 64 squad. He went on to have one of the great coaching runs in college football history at Oklahoma. 16 seasons, 3 national titles, a conference record of 111-1. His success continued with the Cowboys, a Super Bowl in '95, an average of 10 wins a season over 4 years. Marshall, Hatfield, and Switzer. Please welcome 3 Arkansas football legends.
Try it out. Try it out. Say something. Say, hey, oh, it's on.
Hello?
Press. Check, check. You're good.
Check.
You're good. Coach Hatfield, check it out. Try it.
Check it out. I'm good.
Boomer Sooner.
Now, you've already started that. Should we switch? Here, Coach. Give you this. All right, so one of the first things I asked guys is I said, Freddie, when's the last time you've seen Coach Switzer or Coach Hatfield? You said you've had a chance to see Kenny, but when's the last time when you saw Coach Switzer coached when you played the Razorbacks? When's the last time you've seen? How many years has it been?
Well,
That mic right up there.
I'm sorry.
Put that mic right up there.
Oh.
There you go. There you go.
School him up. Is it?
That's, yeah, right there. You're perfect.
No, David asked me, when was the last time you'd seen Kenny Hatfield? And I said, I say Kenny Hatfield often. And he said, how about Barry Switzer? And I said, man, I don't know. It's been probably 40 years. He went off to Oklahoma and he never came back.
And Coach Switzer, you said the same thing. What I love, Coach Hatfield, Coach Switzer said, I said, when's the last time you saw Freddie Marshall? And he said, it's been a while. And you go, Freddie's not from Arkansas. He's from Memphis. You recall, you have a pretty good recall for guys all the way back in the 50s and 60s.
I knew he was from Memphis, and you tried to argue with me, but I said, no, he's from Memphis, Tennessee. We were recruiting Freddie at that time. I remember at Messick High School, and he was recruited by a lot of schools. He was a good quarterback, and we wanted him and thought he could win a championship for us, a national championship.
And Coach Hatfield, obviously, you've had a chance. You've seen Barry. You coached against him, and I'm sure you run into Freddie quite a bit.
I do, and it's a blessing. Barry was so good. I got a good chance to see him down the Orange Bowl. And when it got to be about 60-0, I said, please call the dog. And he just grinned, and that was it. No, you didn't.
We called him up.
Yeah, no. Thank God you did. Thank God you did.
One of the things I thought it'd be nice to, because I think if you guys don't mind, I'm going to say this. Coach Switzer, in October, you turned 87. Correct. Coach Hatfield, are you 81?
81.
81. Freddie, you're 81 or 82? I think it's 81.
No.
Good, close enough. So you're 82. So, Anita, if you will, put up the first picture of all 3 of these guys. Number 2. Just, I think it would be, guys, you can look right here on the monitor. Number 2, right there. So that's Barry Switzer, obviously on the left, Coach Hatfield in the middle, and obviously Freddie on the right. So, you guys pretty good looking dudes back in the day, right?
In the day.
So I want to give you guys a chance to say, Coach Hatfield, we'll start with you, and then we'll go Coach Switzer. Is there anybody you want to recognize here that I did not recognize? Anything you want to say about somebody in the audience?
You asking Kenny or me?
Either one. We'll start with Kenny.
Let me go with Kenny first.
Everybody I saw, I think you recognize. The main thing I wanted to do here is to be sure to mention a lot of people that were on the 64 team that made a difference. So, and we're going to do that as we have time here. But probably the greatest joy today is having my brother Dick Hatfield here. And just tell you so you'll know, because it's a little known fact right there, Dick had the biggest play in our season in 1964. And it's made a difference in my life and in coaching all the time. As many of you know, in the Texas game, the score was tied down there. Late in the ball game, 4th and 4, we were deciding whether we were going to punt or field goal. The last minute, Coach Burrow said, let's punt. So Dick is a snapper on our punt team, and we go in line the field. Daryl on the other side, they all start scrambling and said, they're going to punt, they're going to punt. Well, they tried to send their punt team in, and the regular team, Dick called set real quick. He never does that, but it wasn't his job. They called set real quick, and we called Texas with 22 guys on the field. So, with that, we make 5 yards of first down. 3 plays later, Freddie hits Bobby Crockett for the winning touchdown after that. So, Dick Hatfield is the reason we're here today. Big play, big play.
Coach Switzer, anybody you want to recognize?
I would like to recognize, we've all mentioned Keith Jackson here as my great tight end, but he was a NCAA Scholarship Athlete of the Year when he played for me. He graduated in 3.5 years, and he played the cello. Any cello players here? And outstanding person and great leader for our football team. He was the only person that made All-Pro in the team when he was drafted. He's the only player in the year he was drafted made All-Pro of all the kids that were drafted every round. But I want to mention another gentleman from Crossett, Arkansas, who is Parkview High School now. Keith Jackson is Champ Watson. Champ, are you here? Right here. Stand up, Champ. Champ's from Crossett, a good friend of mine. And I offered him a scholarship to come to Oklahoma, not to play football, but just be my manager, just go where I go. And he thought about it, but he went on to Arkansas State and ended up getting his degree there and coached all over Arkansas. But I also have a special friend here. She better still be here. Suzanne, are you still here? Suzanne Burnett? Suzanne, you stand up, girl. You stand up. That was my first love at Arkansas. And you know what? She picked me, too. She did. She pointed out me. I wouldn't open my mouth. I was an introverted, intimidated guy. When I arrived at Fayetteville, hey, no, I remember all this. September the 12th, 1955, and 70 years ago. And I arrived there, and the population was 12,500. I don't know how many students there were. There wasn't much more than 5,000 to 6,000 students in Arkansas then, and in 55. But I stood in the student union one day, and my roommate was a outgoing guy from Blytheville, Arkansas, Billy Gilbo, and he could rattle it off. And I was a intimidated kid being there and all, but I was getting to play that year as a sophomore. So I'm running around with those guys. We're sitting in the middle table. We all called it the Billy Ray Smith table because all the fraternity boys wouldn't sit there because of Billy Ray run their ass off. So I was sitting here, and she came in and sat down with a bunch of girls, sorority girls, and Billy Gill, my roommate Billy Gilbo said, well, but it's a beautiful day. Spring price is over. We ought to go to a case of beer and a blanket and go out and at the lake and have a blanket party. Now, if you've been to Fayetteville, you know what the hell that means. So I'm sitting there not thinking anything about it, and all of a sudden, Suzanne says from the other side of the table, Billy, I think that's a good idea. I've got him. She pointed at me. I like to swallow my damn. I couldn't believe it. She was the prettiest girl at the table, and beautiful girl, and that started it right there. So she gave me a couple of dates, and I knew what tutoring was too. Then, but so brought me. Anyway. She's always been special to me. Her family, Johnny Burnett, was head of the Arkansas Athletic Association and all. And there's another guy here. Arkansas didn't offer this guy a scholarship. I want you to stand up, Jimmy Files. They know you're right. Jimmy Files, I took to Arkansas, graduated Southside High School at Fort Smith, Arkansas, Southside, came to the University of Oklahoma. He's a quarterback in high school. No one's going to play him at quarterback, but he's an athlete. He ended up being a first-round draft choice of New York Giants, and he started as a rookie for New York Giants. And he was a great player for us, a first-round pick. And make mistakes. we picked up that mistake they made, not taking him. I think that's about Jim Moody. I called him. I said, Jim Moody, you be here. I want you here. You're a special guy. You were a great player at Arkansas. And we finally got out of that damn double wing from Delaware after 1 year. And then we get Moody to ball a damn ball. So we go into, just slide up with the wing set and pitch him with the ball in the sweep and shared the Southwest Conference Championship. And the other guy I want to introduce is back here. This guy could, in a track meet, he's faster than anybody in the district. He could jump farther than anybody in the district, jump higher than anybody in the district, and faster than anybody in the district, and scored more points in a track meet than the entire other team scored. All the teams. He outled everybody as an individual. Jim Gadbury from CrossFit Arkansas. And Jack Mitchell begged him to play football. Begged him. He was a great football player. But you know what? He was a 4-point student, went to Arkansas, made a straight 4-point and an engineering degree. And, of course, y'all know his story. But great athlete and great person. And we love to have seen him in the Razorback uniform. But they didn't. I think that ought to get it. Does anybody else like to be introduced?
We got 20 more minutes, Coach. You're good.
I want Keith Jackson are going to Miami tomorrow together. We travel together all the time.
He does.
Gladys told me his mother told me to take care of him. I'm still taking care of him.
By the way, I see Lieutenant Governor Leslie Rutledge. Great to have you here, Lieutenant Governor. I didn't know you were going to be here today. Let's get to 1964. We were talking about Coach Switzer. You had been recruited by Bowden Wyatt. Obviously, you ended up playing for Jack Mitchell. He left. And so you were there when Frank Broyles came in to the University of Arkansas. What do you remember about Coach Broyles that stood out? Were you able to see, wow, this guy is going to be something special?
Well, first of all, he let his coaches coach on the field. He wasn't one of those guys that came on the field and got in everybody's drill and handled everything. That's the way he was when he first got there in '58. He let his coaches coach, and that's one thing I learned from him. And I let my coaches coach. I would give him constructive criticism, but never anything to embarrass them in front of the players or his players. He's certainly coaching. And some of them whip your ass if you try to do that too. But you always try to do that way. And I always surrounded myself with good people, good players, and that's why I won. I was successful. But he's the reason I had the success I had, because he offered me a job at Arkansas. I'd planned to go to law school, but I figured out they had enough damn lawyers as there was, but he said, "Well, you go to law school next year if you don't like coaching football." But I did, and I stayed in that career, and I'm thankful to Frank Broyles who's given me that opportunity.
Coach Hatfield, what was the thing that attracted you and Freddie after that? What was the thing that attracted you to Arkansas with Frank Broyles early in, obviously, his tenure there at Arkansas?
Well, I think Coach Broyles is here with us today, like everything, and he made it where it was a place to be because he cared about you. And the one thing you knew, if you went to Arkansas, you're going to be a hog for life. And when Barry was talking right here, the one thing I can say from a player standpoint, all of us, we knew as players, if we just did what the coaches said, we could win every ball game. That was the faith they have. That's the confidence they had, the amount of effort they put in, the caring they had. Wilson Matthews, we're not working our ass off in the fourth quarter class. He would not let you do anything but win. So anyway, we just knew the confidence the staff had because they cared about us. And there's never any doubt we were going to do the best we could to please them, and they did great.
Did you say ass?
I think I said ass.
I have never heard Kenny Hatfield say ass before. I just want to make sure
I was checking out your hearing aids. They work.
I don't think Coach Switzer. I don't think I was allowed to say that under Coach Hatfield.
You were not.
I were not.
I could. You couldn't.
So Freddie, in 1963, you guys were expected to win the Southwest Conference. Had a very disappointing 5-5 year, and you were splitting time with Bill Gray and John Britton at quarterback, and you'd about had enough. I think you were getting ready to say, "Coach, I'm moving on." What changed? Coach Broyles, I think, talked to you about maybe having a chance. Of course, it was a historic thing that happened the last game of the year. Kennedy was assassinated, and Arkansas was one of just 5 teams to play that weekend. But it gave you a chance to go out there, and apparently you performed really well against Texas Tech.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
These were coaches. They talk all the time. I was looking at my watch. Barry was on for 12 minutes, and Kenny, you were only on 8 minutes.
I'll get 4 more.
4 more? Oh, okay. 1963 was an awful season. We had, in 62, we were in the running for the title, and in 63, we played, we would call, I call it pitchers. If you walked a batter, you'd come out. Well, there were 3 of us in 63 that played quarterback. I was one of them. You had Billy Gray and John Brednam. And if you threw too many interceptions, you'd come out, they would go in. And I think I started 3 or 4 games that year. John Brednam started about 3 or 4, and Billy Gray. So the quarterbacks were, the not very good. So, and Coach Brawls, talking about what a good coach he is. I'll bring that up later.
Coach Switzer, do you remember by chance the frustration of that team that was expected to do better at 5-5, and then you had the rotating quarterbacks? Do you remember there at the end, by chance, Coach Brawls trying to make that decision who's the starting quarterback should be, and that made a difference going into 64?
I never spent much time thinking about the quarterbacks. I was coaching defense. The one time we had to play both ways when I first got to Arkansas. I was the last year of the face mask. We didn't have a face mask the first year I played in 55. Next year they went to the single bar, the old Riddell headgear. But I spent most of my time with the defense, Jim McKenzie and Wilson Matthews, those guys over at Tennessee coach, what the hell was his name, Doug Dickey. And so I spent most of my time over. I didn't think about the quarterbacks. We thought about how well the defense is going to play. Jim Williams, just too damn little to play today. I saw him a minute ago. How much you weigh now, Jim? Probably not very much, but he was 220, 225. He could really run from Forest City, Colt, Arkansas. Met him a while ago. He came up and spoke to me. We had good players. Ronnie Cavendish, you mentioned there. We played smart. We lined up right, and we gave people problems with our fronts, and stunted quite a bit.
Coach Hatfield, did I hear you guys had a team meeting after 63 that you guys were disappointed in what happened, and you were determined as a team to come back in 64 and make things right? Is that correct? Have I read that somewhere?
Well, that's true, and I think we did. And it made all the difference in the world. We had to decide whether we're going to get with it or give it up right now. And Freddie can tell you more. Freddie was a great leader for us all the time. And he was an inspirational leader, and he was very good at that meeting, too.
So you guys come back, and you start out the season against Oklahoma State 14-10, Tulsa 31-22, Arkansas 29, TCU 6. Arkansas 17, Baylor 6. So you start off the season 4-0, then you go to Austin. And Coach Hatfield, and I know, Freddie, you remember maybe you can call the greatest punt return, greatest play maybe in the history of this program. Anita, if you don't mind, we saw that in Sully's Open. Let's just watch here. Coach, this was down in Austin. This was a big play that made the difference in the game. What do you recall about the punt return down in Austin?
Make sure you watch the guys that led that score. He'll probably bring it up.
Do you have that one ready? Here we go, Coach.
Boom,
great block there.
Boom, boom.
The wall set up.
Right.
Yeah. They kept saying, run faster. I said, I can't run no faster.
So you guys get to win 14-13 there.
Well, the biggest thing on that one right there, I think Jim Lindsay lost 2 teeth blocking on that play to help us get started on it. And the great thing that we did, and Barry will tell you that too, that Coach Broyles emphasized defense, the kicking game, and offense, to be sure. And the one thing you do, if you're going to be a punt returner, don't let the ball hit the ground. That's all he preached right there. And we probably spent more time than any other school in America on it, and it paid dividends for us all the time that Coach Broyles was there.
So you win that game, and you may have something special, bro. You're 5-0, and then Coach.
Let me say one thing too. At the end of that game, because it's the only time it's ever happened that I remember in coaching, we beat Texas down there. They were number 1 in the nation. They'd won 19 in a row, and we're celebrating in the locker room. We won, and all of a sudden, in the middle of it, Darrell Royal walks in the middle of our locker room. I thought he got lost. I don't know where he was supposed to be. But, I mean, you could hear a pin drop, and he came in, and he said, guys, I want you to know one thing. You beat a great Texas team today. So we're not ordinary. So we will not lose another game. If you don't stick to your knitting on what's going on, we'll pick up every piece you got right here. And that's what that motivation. Of course, from there, we shut out the last 5 people who played after that, remembering what he had said coming in there, and made a difference. The only time I've ever heard opposing coach coming in the locker room and motivating us. Barry was there.
I remember that, and Darrell, his team, they went undefeated from then on. They played Alabama, Joe Namath, in the Orange Bowl, and beat them. I think they were ranked number 1 at that time.
That's right.
Beat them, and they had just come off. We beat them on a 19-game winning streak, defending national champions, Texas. We go beat 9-1 Nebraska in the Cotton Bowl, and we're the only one left standing that's undefeated. So, but with that, the Football Writers of America were the only syndicate newspaper outlet that would vote the trophy after all the bowl games, national championship. That year, because of us winning that and the writers giving us the national championship, all the writers, from then on, the UPI, the AP, everybody started giving the championship. Wait till the ball games are all played. I look at the Oklahoma's national champions. They got on the board up there, and I look at number 1950. They were national champions, but they don't. Everyone forgets they went to the Sugar Bowl and they played Maryland and Coach Bryant, not Maryland, but Kentucky. And they had Jim McKenzie on that team, Pat James, Vito Babe Pirelli, quarterback. They had Walt Jaworski, a bunch of guys that played in the league for years and years. And they just beat the hell out of Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. But Oklahoma still got national champions 1950 on the board up there.
So one thing about that, so you're 5-0 there. Freddie, so for the first time, Little Arkansas now is getting, national attention. You beat number 1. And as Coach Hatfield said, you go on a streak where the next 5 games, you shut out every opponent. What was it like? We always have here in this state, we feel like we should be a top 10 program or whatever. What you guys were doing was rare air. You were climbing the charts towards number 1. What was it like when you guys kept winning? You beat Texas, and then you would shut out the next opponent and the next opponent. What was that ride like?
Well, I'd like to tell you why we won all of our games in that year. In 1963, when the ball was turned over, you could only substitute 1 player. So your offensive team, we didn't have an offensive and a defensive team. We just had players. And when the ball turned over, you could only bring 1 out, put 1 in. Then, between the seasons, the rules were changed. You could substitute the whole team. The 11 come off, 11 go on. And here's why we won 1964 was Frank Broyles. What he did is that he divided the practices, offense and defense. So very few other coaches took that. They continued to do what they've always done. What we did is Brawls put them over here, and we practiced all offense. These practiced all defense. We practiced twice as much as the other teams. And that was why we won all those games, was a technical deal. And I mean, can you imagine 5-5, and you come off to a national championship?
Coach
Frank
Hatfield,
Brawls.
Coach Hatfield, you agree with that move by Coach Brawls about how he was doing that with practice?
We did. There wasn't any doubt about it. And it made all the difference in the world because everybody got to play. Everybody knew you were going to play, and we had fresh people. Very few people were doing that at that time. One of the great things that in part of that 5-game shutout at the end of it, one of the games there, Freddie and them took over. I just look at the notes down here. At one game, the offense had 342 yards that year against Baylor, which is big in that offense in that days. The rest of the time, the defense would hang in there, but we came down to the last game of the season playing Texas Tech out there, and it was a tough game. Played in Lubbock right after what had happened with the assassination and so we're there. And so it's a 0-0 game. We're playing there. And I'll never forget, we come in halftime, and Jerry Lamb was in there, and Jerry makes all the coaches leave. They just said, get your butt out of here. And Jerry took over for the whole team. Said, we have come too far. We have done too much. We're going to win this stinking ball game. And when you came out of that locker room, there wasn't a single person that didn't believe what he said. And came on down. We came down the very first time we got down the end zone. We throw a pass in the end zone. The defensive back has got the ball in his hands. And Jerry goes up and wrestles the ball, takes it away from him, and scores the game, and we end up winning the ball game. But I've never forgotten, it's the only time I've seen a player tell the coaches to leave out there, and it worked out pretty good too.
I've never heard that story either, Coach.
It was phenomenal. We were ready. We would not be denied, and we weren't in the ball game. The other thing that was amazing about the game is that Bobby Roper, who's no longer with us, blocked 2 field goals in the ball game too. So a lot of things came into play, but it was strictly the team had come too far for all the 4 years they'd been putting into that. Once that halftime speech, there was only half a game left to be undefeated, and we did it. And they played that way the second half. I'll never forget that. Yeah, that's good.
So one game to go is against Nebraska. Coach Switzer, I've read and I've heard comments that Nebraska was just big. They were giants. And it looks like physically Arkansas was outmatched. Do you recall that physical disparity between the two teams?
They started steroids before we did, and everybody else. They were way ahead of us. No, Nebraska's always had giant players. They all said they were corn-fed up there, but I don't think that had a damn thing to do with it. But Nebraska was a very good football team when we were fortunate to beat them, and we made some individual plays to make first downs, and we got in position to win the ball game. But I thought we had a chance to win it, but I knew it was going to be tough, and I knew they were a damn good football team.
I think I've always said this, Freddie, and Coach Hatfield gets a lot of attention for good reason. He's obviously All-American as a punt returner, but I think, Coach, in addition to your punt return against Texas, this play, I've told Roger when we talk about this on the show all the time, this to me is the fighting Razorback spirit. When you got to go 80 yards, you're down 7-3. There's 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, and it's third down. Anita, I want you to show it. Sully showed this, but I want you to see these Nebraska players have a shot at little old Freddie Marshall, and I want you to show Freddie's determination. Watch Freddie's determination to get the first down, to extend this drive, to get the touchdown for the national. This was for the national championship. It was third down. Anita, if you'll play this for us. So check this out. How many tacklers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 players that had a chance to get Freddie right there.
That's right.
Did you realize at the time, I'm sure you did, that you had to get the first down? You had to pick up yardage there on 3rd and long. Do you remember that play very well?
Absolutely.
What do you remember about it?
One of the tacklers hit me in the nose and broke it. I had my nose broken
On that play?
On that play.
Wow.
So anyway.
But you finished the drive, and you guys took it down, and that was the difference. Was it Moody scored was it Moody scored the touchdown? Burnett. Bobby Burnett.
Yes. Yeah, he faked the ball in and pitched it.
Yeah, we talked about him fighting for the. He's talking about your junior year after about you weren't coming back.
Oh. I was married. I had a son my senior year or junior year, and as we were, we played. Quarterbacks were back in and out, and I had a lot of friends and fans felt like maybe had Broyles played me a little bit more, we would have won more. After the last game in '63, I went into Coach Broyles' office and I said, "Coach," I think if I'd have played a little bit more, maybe we'd have had a little more success." And I said, "I'm not going to come back. I got a family, and if you can assure me that I will play or start, then I'm not going to come back." And he said, "Okay, you'll be my starter." And so he started me every game in '64. And it sounds like maybe why would I do something like that? Tell the coach that I wasn't going to come back if I'm not playing, and it's just something that I did.
Well, I think we're very glad that you did that, Coach. Freddie. By the way, let's show a picture, Anita. This was a picture of postseason of the team. Now, I think 2 different pictures. This is a stage picture, Anita. So we've got one. We're going to circle. Let's show that one. Let's show the next one, Anita, where we've circled. So Coach Hatfield is down there, number 46. Freddie's behind the sign. That's Jerry Jones, 61. To my left, you're right. Your left, rather. And then Jimmy Johnson, number 60. Coach Switzer, you had moved. Where were you at that day?
I was on the road recruiting. I was out trying to get us other players. Everyone else, we didn't know they were going to take the picture. It all was spontaneous. They just called, they were named national champions, so they said, "Let's take a picture." And they all got together with all the ones that were in town. I don't know who else might have missed the picture.
Coach Broyles was not there. How do you not do it? Yeah, how do you not do a team picture with Coach Broyles there, Coach Hatfield?
Whose idea was that to do it? If Coach Broyles in there, who in the hell made that decision?
So, Coach Hatfield, what was it like when this state becomes a national champion? I know it was a split decision between the polls, but what was it like being the first school football ever in the history of the program to win a national championship, something that had never been even thought about here?
I think the main thing was just you felt about every person in the state of Arkansas, because once you've done something, you know it can be done forever. And we did it and know it can still be done forever. And you think, my first thought was all the people that had put so much time, energy, effort driving in those early days, those afternoon games in Fayetteville. Not enough motels up there, you know. You don't play no night games. And we played down Little Rock half the games, which was really a lot of fun. And it was a unique, very few people had two stadiums like we did as a fan base. And I just thought of everybody that put so much into it and the coaches that put so much into it. And it just felt this is what it's all about. And they can never take it away.
And you believe that it can still be done again?
No doubt it can still be done again. When I was listening to that Freddie talk, one other thing I wanted to mention, just in moments that you remember where we were at the time, was Freddie's drive, 80-yard drive in the Cotton Bowl to go ahead. There's still about plenty of time left. Nebraska starts a drive down the field, and their great running back, Wilson, takes off on a 40-yard run. And Bill Gray, he ain't that fast, but he caught his butt right there and tackled him. Thank God he did, because they didn't kick the field goal. So finally we go ahead in the ball game. Then they're making one last chance to get down. They cross the 50, so they're getting close enough for the field goal. They're close enough to score a touchdown. And on fourth down, Jim Williams, right back here from Far City, Arkansas, whipped his tackle. I mean, just left him on the ground, threw Churchage for a 12-yard loss to win the ball game. I remember your play on that third down play and Jim Williams' tackle. Let it go, Jim Williams. Just a great individual effort at a time. Champions made plays when they did, and that's one of the reasons why we're here today.
Coach Switzer, you're an Arkansas, just like Coach Hatfield is, Freddie, from Memphis. And you went on to win national championships, 3 of them at Oklahoma. You won a Super Bowl at Dallas. When you look back, you had gone in the military, and Coach Broyles came and got you out of the military to come back to coaching. It had a pretty amazing journey from a kid from CrossFit and what could have happened and how your life ended up going through Fayetteville and Coach Broyles and the Razorbacks.
Well, obviously, he saw something to me I didn't know I had, because he wanted to be on the staff, and I didn't think anything about it. I was asked to help recruiting the year before. I was actually Fred Akers and I were the freshman coaches. And you want to add something to that? Just Akers. But Fred Akers and I were the freshman coach, and Bobby Proctor, who I reported to in 1955, who ended up 70 years ago. He ended up going in the SEC and left. He followed Bowden Wyatt because he had played for Bowden, and the Little Pigs had won the Southwest Conference Championship in '54. So he went on to Tennessee, and Fred and I ended up being the freshman coaches, and from that point on, I don't know, Coach Broyles asked me to recruit. I got involved in recruiting. I remember going out to West Texas in the Panhandle. I recruited 3 players I'd never recruited out there before. I recruited Mickey Maroney, who died in the bombing, the Murrah bombing in Oklahoma City. He was at Secret Service. He was on the 9th floor that happened. I was coaching the Cowboys then. I came back to his service in Oklahoma City. I got Mickey Maroney from Wichita Falls. I got Lee Johnson from Borger, who they'd won the state championship, trying to get John LeGros in the All-American nose guard. But I got Melvin Gibbs, a guard who was of all Big 8. I mean, all Southwest Conference a couple of years in a row. So I did a good job of recruiting, and my first opportunity to go on the road. So Coach Broyles, I think, was impressed with that, and I went into the service, and I got out. I was one of those 6-month guys, but I got out in 4 months because Coach Broyles called me and actually asked Dixie White to call me an offensive line coach, and they called me when I was stationed in Aberdeen, Maryland, and said, Frank Broyles wants you back here September the 1st. I said, hell, I don't get out the middle of October, Dixie. And he said, he wants you back here the 1st. He'd write this name down and this address and ask for such and such form, and that this might help. And so after I hung up, I looked at the sergeant major standing there, and I said, can I have form such and such? And he said, I've never seen one of you damn 6-monthers get out early yet. Yeah, here's one. He throws it at me. I go over, and they give me a name and an address to send it to. I go over and sit down in my bed, and I filled it out to head of Welber Mills, head of Ways and Means. Washington. I said, so what happens? What happens is that it's all about who you know and networking. I didn't know Wilbur Mills, but Brian did. So they said it to. This is before Fatty Fox, the tidal basin, by the way. I don't think he had that pull after that, but he did then, and so. I got out early, and I laughed. All my guys that went in, I love this. Freddie Akers and all those guys, Bill Michaels went in, had advanced ROTC. They went in as a second lieutenant. And they were laughing at me being a private, being private Switzer with a college degree, and I'm over there, a bunch of 17, 18-year-old kids in the barrack. That's all it was. No one enlists 23 and 24. They enlist when you're 17, 18 years old. So I'm over there, a bunch of damn teenagers, and they always wanted to go to PX and drink beer, so I'm hitchhiking all of the East Coast by myself. It was a great time in my experience for me. But it ended September the 1st. I'm back in Fayetteville, Arkansas. All the rest of those damn guys are up there. And the morning I left, I took my duffel bag out. I started cussing and throwing all my stuff in the duffel bag. I'm going to get the hell out of here. I can't stand this any damn more. I don't want any more of this. Anybody want to leave with me? And no, everyone's shaking their head. No, they all thought I went AWOL. And I can guarantee there's a bunch of them today think that I did. I just left. They never saw me again.
Well, the great thing I think we can all acknowledge, and the reason why I think we got to. I don't want to say there's a Brulesworth back here is because Coach Brulls was wise enough to hire and train and develop you and Johnny Majors and Joe Gibbs and Don Bro and all the others, Coach Hatfield, that Fred Akers, he knew great assistant coaches. And I want to say, too, Coach Hatfield, I got a chance to play for Lou Holtz and Coach Hatfield, and it was an honor to play under one of the finest human beings and football coaches I've ever met. He still has the best winning percentage in the history of the Razorback football program, by the way.
Thank you.
You want to say something, Freddie?
David, I'd like to tell you, I was remiss in not telling you the whole reason we won the national championship. One was technically practice. After the last game, Texas Tech in Lubbock, there were 13 players that were seniors the next year. And we got together. Several of us talked about it was practice for years that the seniors to be, they didn't have to go into spring practice. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a reward for someone that could go through the season. And so the seniors to be didn't have to go through it. And that was the reason that we won the championship, is because the players then told Coach Broyles, we want to go through spring practice.
How about that?
They didn't have to. We came off of a 5-5 season, really not good, but we decided as a team, 13 of us, decided, hey, let's go through spring practice. And that's what we did.
That's an awesome. Yeah, nobody wants to do that. Yeah, that's well said. Coach Hatfield, we'll let you close it.
Well, no, one other thing I wrote down, I wanted to be sure that 64 team and getting 5 shutouts in a row was big. But the team, when I look back at some records here when I was preparing for tonight too, the list we have there of defensive points you get for tackles and pass defense together, of that team, the 64, number one on this tackles list and all is Ronnie Cavendish in 64, 249 points. Number 2 is Ronnie Cavendish in 63 with 191 points. Number 3 is Cohart, Ronnie Mack Smith from Benton, the other linebacker, with 179 points. The 4th, Lloyd Phillips, with 175 points. 5th, Jimmy Johnson, with 161 points. 6th, Jim Williams, the 139 points, and 9. So we had 7 out of 9. The 9th, Charlie Daniels with 103. When you got 7 of your top tacklers in all-time history, you're going to go undefeated. We did.
And last but not least, yes, Coach, we'll close with this. That was a special team made up of special individuals, Jim Lindsay, Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson. And you look at the success of the people on that team, there's a reason you guys won the national championship. And it was, I love Before We Were Cowboys. That's a great video. And I just wanted to say congratulations. I know that when I was up there, I stood on the shoulders of all 3 of you, and I know that all the players feel the same way. I don't know if they do anymore or not, but I'll know anything that I achieved was because of the greatness that you guys laid the foundation. How about let's give it up for Ken Hatfield, Freddie Marshall, and Barry Switzer, everybody.